men's hockey team who have hammered South Korea 4-1 to enter their second consecutive Asian Hockey Champions Trophy final. Well, remember, India are the reigning champions of the tournament and they have progressed to the final unbeaten. If we look at India's journey, before we get to the match against South Korea, they defeated China in their opening encounter, and it's the same opposition that they are going to face in the final of the tournament. Then they defeated Malaysia, Japan, South Korea again they defeated in the league stage 3-1, and then it was a close game against Pakistan, but India managed to win it 2-1. And now in the semi-finals, once again India have showed their dominance and progressed to the final.
Absolutely, they've been clinical. This Indian team throughout. Pakistan, as Siddharth said, was a close competition, a good fight that you saw from Pakistan on the day. However, India have been the superior team by far, by quite a margin in this tournament, and it reflects in the way that they've now sealed a place in the final. Up against them will be China, who, by the way, made it to the final of the tournament for the first time in their history. So it's going to be debutants, let's say final debutants in China taking on India, who have the record number of titles when it comes to the Asian Champions Trophy. And India's record, now coming to the match that we saw today, India's record had been a healthy one, continues to be a healthy record against South Korea, because 13 years now, Siddharth, if I believe, they haven't lost against South Korea in regulation time.
More than 10 years, yeah.
Yeah, so 13 is what I just recall. So in all of that, today as well, there was some sparks of brilliance, but those sparks of brilliance from South Korea came from their keeper, and that just tells you how the team is. If the keeper is the best performing player of the match, that tells up or sums up the story for you, and that's what we saw today as well. The South Korean keeper was called into action in the early stages of the match as well. India threatened to take the lead inside the first 3-4 minutes when there was a circle penetration almost instantly after the whistle went off to mark the start of the match. But India only grew in confidence, got a goal early on. Then it was the Indian captain who made it 2, and after that that 2-goal cushion that India had, there was no way that South Korea, beg your pardon, were given any sort of room. Yes, they got a goal back, but that was all that there was for them on the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we talk about the goal scorers that India had throughout the match, obviously it was Uttam Singh who opened the goal scoring for India, and it was in the first quarter itself. Then it was Harmanpreet who's once again having a good tournament after his brilliant show in the Paris Olympics. He scored the second goal, which made sure that India grabbed a 2-0 lead. But then the most interesting point after the first half was that India once again dominated the ball possession, where India had around 61% of the possession in comparison to North Korea's 39%. And then heading into the second quarter, obviously we all knew which team was actually high on confidence, and they once again India carried forward their good show and made it 4-1, because for South Korea it was once again an uphill task for them, and they couldn't really overcome the Indian challenge, which made sure that they will now fight it out for the third spot against Pakistan.
Absolutely. That match, by the way, takes place before the final. The final, if you're just wondering when the final will take place, the final takes place tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. India time. I think 2 hours prior to that is when you will see the bronze medal match take place. And as sports fan pointed out, yes, of course, it was a big shocker. Sports fan, as you point out, that Pakistan losing in that match against China, a big shocker. Nobody really saw that coming, especially when you saw a brilliant show from Pakistan, a resolute show, I would say, against India. You thought that they would be going into this match with a lot of confidence from that match against India. But we're all equally stunned, just as much as you perhaps are. How China go ahead and then perform now in the final is something we'll have to wait and see. But they were very good today. To challenge Pakistan also takes some doing, and like I said, the first appearance for China in this particular tournament just sums up the story for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in case you have just joined us, the latest update is that the Indian men's hockey team has qualified for the final of the Asian Champions Trophy, and they are the defending champions of the same tournament. They defeated South Korea 4-1. So let's just take a few quick comments. Rahul has a comment here that Asian hockey level is not so good. Well, obviously, there are these nations that, Korea, China, they have shown the flashes of their brilliance, but they haven't really been consistent. Whereas in case of India, who struggled in the hockey in the past maybe decade or so, well, they've had a resurgence now with two bronze medal in consecutive Olympics. Can pretty much be safe to say that India are currently the giants as far as the Asian hockey is concerned.
It remains a bit of a mystery even till date that how India, while they were hosting the World Cup last year, didn't finish in the top four.
Yeah.
That time as well. The expectation was high, and that's why you were a little skeptical about India going into the Olympics as well. But then we all know how things were turned around. Priyanshu had a comment about what we are going to do for dugout. Well, we've already put out a post, Priyanshu, and for those of you joining us right now, yes, 6:15 is when we join you live for the dugout, and yeah, the subject or the topic on the agenda today has already been put out on social media platforms. So I'm not going to be revealing it here. Do check out and circulate that post so that we're all in for a long chat, as always is the case every evening.
Yeah, Pavan Suresh has a comment that can China challenge India in the finals? Well, I think final is obviously it's going to be a different ball game altogether. You'll have to keep all the league stages, wins or losses behind, and just make sure that you focus on that particular day, on that particular match. And just from that perspective, I think the Indian team would want to guard against complacency against China, who can, as I said, have shown that flashes of brilliance, but then come the final, anything can happen.
Yeah, but if you were to ask us, if you were to just pick one team between the two, it will be India that will be the dominant team going into the final as well. Yes, China may have done well, but you look at what happened between the two teams in the group stages as well. A commanding 3-0 victory for India in that group stage match that took place last week as well. Also, much better India in terms of confidence, in terms of the history that India enjoy in this competition, and not just this competition, hockey overall. So India on multiple fronts do seem to have the edge ahead of that final.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much about it that we have as far as the coverage of the India versus South Korea semi-final is concerned. What do you think? Are India's chances in the final against China? Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today for all the exciting updates on sporting world and different analysis on different sports. Until then, on behalf of Harshit, it's Siddharth Gulati saying goodbye.